Rachel, Joey, and Ross in Friends weren't the worst love triangle in sitcom history, despite what many believe. Ross and Rachel's relationship in Friends was a major storyline in the show, even though the pair were only officially together for just over a season. However, their romance often went back and forth throughout all 10 seasons of Friends. The stories that saw Joey and Rachel's romance blossom are typically episodes of Friends audiences skip during a rewatch. While this sudden change in dynamics received a huge amount of backlash from viewers and the cast, it wasn't the worst example. The worst love triangle in sitcom history was actually Robin, Ted, and Barney in How I Met Your Mother. The Robin, Barney, and Ted love triangle in HIMYM was worse than Joey, Ross, and Rachel in Friends. Joey and Rachel embracing while on vacation in Friends. Even though Joey and Rachel's relationship storyline in Friends didn't feel like a love triangle at a glance, if you add Ross' reaction and the fact Emma wasn't very old, it very much was. Rachel and Joey's romance was, and still is, one of the most hated pairings in sitcom history by itself, but it also made the on-off relationship between Rachel and Ross even more complicated. However, the Robin, Barney, and Ted love triangle in How I Met Your Mother was worse. It's not unusual for a member of a sitcom love triangle to eventually move on or step aside for their rival, but in How I Met Your Mother, Barney and Ted competed for Robin's affections right up to the end. HIMYM's love triangle was dragged out for too long. Barney, Ted, and Robin drinking at McLaren's and talking to Lily and Marshall in How I Met Your Mother. The main issue with How I Met Your Mother's love triangle was that it went on for ages, to the point that certain seasons or story arcs became frustrating to re-watch. From the moment Barney and Robin's relationship in How I Met Your Mother began, it was clear that the group's dynamic would never be the same again. That's why it was so aggravating when Ted announced he was in love with Robin again after she ended things with Kevin. While Ted always had underlying feelings for Robin, this proclamation of love seemingly appeared out of nowhere, and it didn't make a lot of sense. Ted even tried to nudge Robin towards a possible recollection in the lead-up to her wedding, and although he attempted to do it in the most respectful way possible, it was baffling how little he thought about what she or Barney actually wanted. All three members of this love triangle made bad decisions, but Ted was the reason why it carried on for so long. Why HIMYM's Robin and Friends Rachel deserved better. Kobe Smulders as an aged Robin looking out of her window with her dog to Ted in How I Met Your Mother's finale. Both of these great female TV characters deserved better. Rachel shouldn't have had to deal with Ross' insecurities and disrespect. What didn't help, either, was that Ross tried to create love triangles with anyone he saw as a threat to him and Rachel. If Rachel had been able to explore her connection with Joey properly, they probably still would have come to the same conclusion. However, Rachel deserved the opportunity to discover that by herself, and one of the reasons why she and Joey decided to be just friends again was because of Ross. Robin was deserving of a better outcome, too. Ted's actions may have started as romantic, but his inability to let go of a relationship they both knew wouldn't be their end goal ended up causing more havoc in Robin's life than it was worth for her. He was always love-struck, but none of Ted's girlfriends in How I Met Your Mother ever compared to Robin. Barney didn't help either, granted. However, at least Barney genuinely knew what Robin wanted and didn't ignore the parts about her that didn't fit with his plan to find the one.